feel like this is probably the angriest that I'm going to get for the rest of this series. Why for the rest of this series? Because Lightning lose 5-3 in Game 3 on home ice to the Florida Panthers, a game that they easily could have won at multiple points throughout this game. Why I say this is going to be about the maddest that I'm going to get through this series, probably the maddest that you're going to see me for a long time, is come Saturday, come Game 4 on home ice, I am actually prepared for the Lightning to get swept. I'm prepared to give a post-mortem for this team where I am remarkably calm with a drink in hand and ready to, in some capacity, say my goodbyes to the golden age of this Lightning pseudo-dynasty, if you will. Not a true dynasty. What is it? 3 championships in 4 years. They got close. They didn't do it. Whatever. It's been incredible. 10 playoff berths in the last 11 years under John Cooper. I think that math works out. I think that maths. 7 straight seasons in the playoffs. 4 Stanley Cup appearances. 2 Stanley Cup championships. It's been unprecedented for Tampa Bay sports to have this long-term success, and I'm ready to say my goodbyes, but not yet. Because before you can get through the stages of grief, before you can finally get to acceptance, you have to go through anger. And that's where we are tonight. We're at anger. Because what I saw tonight was a team that didn't care. I've been able to write off the first 2 games of this series so far, as Game 1 was at home. Panthers had momentum on their side. Panthers had all the motivation as the number 2 seed in the East to make a statement at home. I accept that. Game 2, I thought that officiating played so much more of a role in the game than it actually did until I sat down and I thought about it. And maybe I mentioned this in the last video, maybe I did not, but let me go ahead and make it perfectly clear right now. Despite all of my complaints about the officiating in Game 2, the Lightning screwed it up. They had their opportunities and they didn't do anything with it. You had a 4-minute power play, a double minor in which you got no goals and you lost in overtime. I was ready to accept both of those, as the Panthers are a very good team. Let me not take away anything from the talent of the Florida Panthers as a great team. For most of this season, they were my pick out of the East until very recently, and I started watching the Rangers play, and the Rangers are very scary right now. We may be headed for a Rangers-Panthers Eastern Conference final, but I digress. I'm not going to take anything away from the Panthers here, because they played a phenomenal game. Sergei Bobrovsky has been a total, not even game changer, a series changer. That backhanded save in Game 2, several sprawling saves here tonight in Game 3 kept the Lightning off the board and kept the Panthers in the lead in the game and in the series. But it doesn't change the fact that the Lightning have had so many opportunities that they have done nothing with. Just look at it tonight. The power play. I've been so proud of this power play all season long. Number 1 power play in the league. Somewhere around, I think, 28%, if I'm not mistaken. 0 for 4 tonight. 2 for 12 in this entire series. 2 for 12. Nikita Kucherov has been eliminated from this series in its entirety. He's not there. And it's not there. It's not that he's not there because he's not trying. He's not there because the Panthers know what to do to get him out of the game, to get him out of contention, to stop letting him be a playmaker. You watch this team on the power play, the Panthers suffocate them. The Panthers are a man down. It's 5-on-4, and yet somehow, everywhere the Lightning pass the puck, there's a Panther on their stick, on their skates. They can't get any breathing room, any separation while you're up a man. Tell me how this makes sense for the number 1 power play in the league. For one of the most legendary power plays of a core 4 in Victor Hedman, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point. A couple years ago it was Alex Killorn down in front. Now it's Nick Paul. Sometimes it's Brandon Hagel. And that core four can't do anything, despite the fact that they are up a man. How about we talk about the fact that somehow the Lightning out-hit the Panthers by 20. It was 84-64 in the hits department. The Lightning severely out-hitting the Panthers, supposedly beating them at their own game. Can't generate any opportunities. Because you watch this team and they can't enter the zone with any sort of dominance, any sort of authority. They either try to skate it in and there are 3 Panthers with a stick on that puck and it just bounces right back out of the zone, or they chip it down and they don't chase it, or the Panthers beat them to the chase. No offense being generated. No pushback on defense. And oh my word, did I ever just lose my mind at the go-ahead goal. At the time, it was the go-ahead goal. It was goal number 3. Okay. The score is 2-2 at the time. At least I think it is. I honestly don't remember. I'm tired and I'm angry. But regardless of what goal it actually was, the Lightning are in their own defensive zone in front of Andrei Vasilevsky against the 4th line of the Panthers. The 4th line. Your 4th line is out there as well. Names like Luke Glendening and Tyler Mott, guys who are supposed to be defensively responsible, guys who you put on the penalty kill for a reason, and you let a 4th line center like Steven Lorentz find himself alone in front of Andrei Vasilevsky for an easy shot. Easiest that he's going to take for a very long time, especially as a fourth line center. Where does he get that kind of golden opportunity? And it enrages me because this is what I've been afraid of all season long. The Lightning cannot outscore their problems when it matters. Oh, sure, they can put up 6 goals against the bad teams, against Columbus and Chicago and San Jose and Arizona. Hey, sure, no problem. We can score 6 and we'll win the game 6-4. But it doesn't erase the fact that their defense is just, it's an utter shell of what it once was. And yes, the defenseman bears some of the blame for that. But the offense, the depth on the offense bears some of that blame as well. You remember the 4th line was last year, 2 years ago? Patrick Maroon, Corey Perry, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Tell me anybody on this 4th line that lines up to any of those 3 guys right now. Maybe not even with defensive responsibility, but just in pure grit, in pure ability to get under your skin, to piss you off into making a mistake. That's what their job was. And this 4th line can't even do that. They got 1 goal. This 4th line did. Tyler Mott. And it was a beautiful goal. That was the prototype for scoring on Sergei Bobrovsky this whole series. I'd say as if the series is over. It's basically over. Get traffic in front of him. Eliminate his eyes. Put pucks on net. Lightning wait until game 3 to do that. Congratulations. And you still lost! It's been the story of the season thus far that the Lightning have problems getting out of their own zone. And for at least 2 of the goals tonight, the Reinhart goal and the Montour goal, that's exactly what happened. I forget exactly which goal it was. Anthony Cirelli gets down, blocks 2 shots, basically takes himself out of the game from the looks of it. And in sacrificing his body, his teammates, including Matt Dumba, the guy that you got specifically to help clear the zone, to be defensively responsible, to help break out the other direction, can't do a thing against this Panthers team. Tell me how I'm supposed to have any hope in this team at this point. Tell me how any fan of the Tampa Bay Lightning is supposed to feel any sort of good, any sort of valued, any sort of honored that, like, this team cares about continuing to be in this series. That they give a flying you-know-what about actually putting on a show, about pursuing the Stanley Cup once again. They're rolling over. They're giving no pushback whatsoever. It's over. Like, I know it's not officially over. You're down 3-0. Lightning have to sweep the rest of this series. You have to win 2 games in Sunrise. You have to win 2 games in Tampa, 2 arenas. That's thus far, you have won 0 games in. Is it impossible? No. Is it incredibly unlikely? Hell yes. I genuinely cannot overstate. I don't know if anger is the right word. I don't know if disappointment is the right word. I don't truly know what the right word is. But the expectation that this team, this franchise has given us over the last decade does not match up with the product on the ice. Not even close. Even last year against Toronto, plenty of people would say that even though Tampa lost that series, they were still the better team and that they would be back, they would be fighting for it, and they were wishing and hoping for a rematch with the Maple Leafs to avenge what happened last year because they thought it was a fluke. And you watch the series against the Panthers, and you realize this team is a shell of what it once was. You lost an entire line. I've already mentioned Maroon, Perry, Belmar. You lost Johnny Gord, Barclay Goodrow, Blake Coleman. Another line, gone. You lost Ross Colton in free agency. You lost plenty of solid defensemen. Ryan McDonough, Kevin Shattenkirk, Jan Ruda. I'm blanking on some others. I'm actually so angry that I had like 3 other names in mind and I can't think of any of them at the moment. This team is a shell of what it once was. And what it communicates to me, regardless of if the Lightning lose this game in 4, they get swept on Saturday, they somehow manage to lose it in 7, or they somehow end up winning. It communicates to me that it may be time to blow up this team. They have been incredible in managing their salary, making sure that their stars take less so they can remain competitive. There's not a single person on this team that makes more than $9.5 million, which is unheard of in this league of superstars. Nikita Kucherov scoring 144 points this year doesn't make more than $9.5 million. Andrei Vasilevsky doesn't make more than $9.5 million. Braden Point doesn't make more than $9.5 million. None of their core 4 plus Andrei Vasilevsky, they all took pay cuts to remain competitive so that the team could be built around them. And now, what do you have coming up? You have contract extensions that you have already agreed to for Brandon Hagel and for Nick Paul, and Steven Stamkos is an unrestricted free agent on July 1st. What motivation does Steven Stamkos have to continue to play here after what he's seen? Do you think he's going to take a hometown discount at this point? Do you think a man that can easily command, let's say, $8 million for the rest of his career, that he's going to take 5 to stay here amongst a mediocre team? I don't. I would love for him to do so. I would love to believe that he is the stand-up guy and he so desperately wants to chase after another cup that he is willing to take that hit, that he is satisfied with the millions he has already gained and he's willing to take that hit. Realistically, probably not. Julien Brisebois, general manager of the Tampa Bay Lightning, was adamant that no conversations would happen with Steven Stamkos until the season is over. What do you think that conversation looks like now? Staring down a potential sweep in 2 days' time? What do you think that conversation looks like? Do you think Julien Brisebois wants Steven Stamkos back? Do you think Steven Stamkos wants Steven Stamkos back? That's all speculation, of course, because anything can happen, right? I could be 100% wrong. This could be the angriest that I've ever been in my life, and the Lightning could come back, sweep the final 4 games, and set up a date with either Boston or Toronto, and we do this all over again. I don't know. It's incredibly unlikely. But in the meantime, I think I'm mentally preparing myself for the end. And it sucks that it's happened like this. That you don't even go out with a bang, with a whimper. And no effort, and no defensive pushback, no power play. The only person I see on this ice that gives a damn about trying is Andrei Vasilevsky. And he ain't going to win you that series no matter how good he is. He's not going to win a series against any team in the league if the rest of the team doesn't care. That's it. Rant over. As much... I could continue going on, but I'm going to choose to end it here. So instead I will say, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for giving me just a little bit of your time. And for once, I hope that I feel better by the end of this. I hope that something changes and that I am just incredibly wrong about everything, but I see the writing on the wall. If you want to be around for Game 4, twitch.tv/SammyFlair. I can pretty much guarantee you that I will not be this animated because for all intents and purposes, I'm planning on attending a funeral. So if you want to come hang out for that, you know the address. And there will be another video, probably two, immediately following that game. Bye, everyone. See you then.